We'll begin. I will back up and we'll begin. All right, comfortable seat, settling. Soften your hands. Soften your breath, deep, soft, expanding, condensing, yielding breath. Take your hands out. Yeah, so that you just feel them also expand, condense with the movement of your lung breath and the movement of your inner oceanic movement. And then keeping that soft and receptive touch. Now, bring your hands to your thighs and feel what you're doing as you do it. Touch and feel. There's your hands. They give touch. And there are your legs. And they give touch back to your hands. Stay with me. The touch of your hands into your legs gives touch, tissue to tissue, cell to cell. The fluids moving under your hands touch one another and they flow. You can feel this. You can feel this. So go ahead. Feel the touch of your own hands touch deep into your own body. And feel its force, its prana, feel the force flowing. It's real. Now allow this touch that you're giving to your legs to apply an oceanic, as I said, an oceanic, deep, earthy, low movement. Good. And now bring the touch of your hands to your belly region, and it will be different. Simply notice the difference. The yogic seers felt the difference and then described things about the different chakra regions. So this is the low, the earth, and the water, and this is the fire. And the fire has many options for its method of warming. So you may, or its degree of warming, you may feel there's a lot of heat. Sometimes there's too much heat, of course. Or you may feel, what? I don't know. I feel dullness. Certainly, I felt dullness in all of these areas when I was beginning, and there's nothing wrong with that. We just keep exploring. But there is a warmth, and this is, in a way, the center of our individuality, our thinking mind, the mind that registers things. The individual, not the universal. But it's me, it's about me. All right, and now, and it's warm. And now bring your hands up to your heart. So maybe you keep a hand down on your belly for just a little bit and acknowledge and say, yes, this is okay. And maybe I am whatever, fiery. Maybe I am just this warm, rich glow of fire. That's fine. That's who you are right now. And then keep the warm. So you can modulate it a little bit And then with both hands on heart, there's the air. The air feeds the fire. And the air also expands you into the qualities of mobility, lightness, not quite so, but and this too, the out, the relationality. So from here, open your arms as if they are full of this element of air. There will be quite light. See if it's pretty light, right? This is not the same watery. You see me doing the watery. Here's the light. This is the air. Many different movements and all of these different waves of consciousness, sensing and feeling going through you. And then here we go and back. Air and heart. The weeping, the sorrow, the mix of the human feelings in the lungs, and the container, the open vessel, heart's hollow, the open vessel for love, compassion, and wisdom. Wisdom, right here. Wisdom is where we can observe these other processes below and treat them properly with love and compassion. This is in you. This is not product of mind. Mind has not got this capacity. Mind is thinking, I got to do this, keeping you alive, the individual, yada, yada. This is something quite deep. And then there's more, because then there's space. And this is the element of the throat. And this is the place where universal vastness communicates into individual, shows us, offers us the experience of compassion and love, Satchit, Sat, pure awareness, Chit, this individuality, Satchit, Ananda, space. The space between perception and response. Do you understand? You perceive something and the mind will want to go, oh, I got that. Or now I have to figure that out, one or the other. That's no space. The perception, oh, decision, I need to do something. That's mind. Space. The biggest thing, the biggest element happening inside of you, every cell, these little cells know how to feel that space between perception and response. They know how. They don't always do it, right? But they know how. And then consciousness, the non-thing that pervades all of this and is washed through it as its major support. So the question is, how much can we handle? That is the question. How much can you handle? It's not, okay, I'm going to do this thing, I'm going to do this yoga, I'm going to figure this out, I'm going to get clear. It's like, no. How much can you actually handle of this? And then in that space between perception, how much can I handle, and response, have the space. And then see, how much can you really handle? Be honest. Do you really want to handle this stuff? Do you really want to handle this stuff? Or not? I want to be here. That's my usual rant, only it's now, it's chakras and it's elements and so forth. But the reminder, because here we are again in fall, here we are going in again, right? We've been rising out in the spring and the summer, and then we've got this limiting thing of the COVID and the madness that is happening in the world. But we've actually been moving outward in our body minds because we are completely affected by the seasons. And now we have a huge freaking responsibility. And I'm not going to tell you it's going to be easy, because when we go back in, we feel what's happening. And it's not just the universal, the love, the space. It's oppression out there. I'm not talking about us, but we feel it. It's lies, it's danger, it's disappointing, it's sorrowful. I hope you're all right with this. You know, but I teach you. If I was just still teaching asana, I would really not be interested in this. But what I'm teaching you is the embodiment. We do it in the form of asana, but I'm teaching you the embodiment in order to deal with it. And the freedom is not in changing everything that we don't like. That will never give freedom, or everything we don't like about us. The freedom comes in the santosha, the acceptance of what actually is, allowing that space between stimulus and response, the perception, the space is the freedom. Happiness has nothing to do with freedom. Nothing. You won't be happy if horrible things are happening, but you can be free. You know, after I talk with you and I bring you into this process of embodiment that we're sharing together, and we're increasing by your presence. This is not all me, that's for darn sure. It's us together. We're increasing this inquiry together. And where do we always go? You might know the answer. It's always the breath. Always. So here we go. We felt the touch. Let's feel the touch here. So this holding of your own heart tenderly that we do as we exhale takes us in. And yes, there's a little bit of a bow because we don't freaking know. The moment we know, it's over. You don't do your same reverence. No, come out of it again. Allow. Feel the space and the air and the blah, and then the love that I know you feel. Inhale. And exhale, coming all the way in through those layers to touch and hold your own heart tenderly. Basis of practice. Hold your own heart tenderly. The first of the yamas, ahimsa, non-violence, kindness, tenderness. And then if you like, bow your head. The head is the home of the brain. And what we're bowing is your brain, which has very little to do with the expanse. It's you bow your brain. That's all this stuff I think I know. I give it up to the tenderness that can hold it all. Take some breaths. All right. Bring it up. Ready to explore the blending of it. And we'll come right around into hands and knees, and from here move into some sun salutations to, you know, energize the body. So here we go. Feel free, just a mat, 2 blocks, a chair. Feel free to adjust your props at any time as we proceed. So set up your comfort and come into a hands and knees situation to begin. And just notice, and I don't know, maybe you're probably setting up right now, but it might be useful to notice how I move in this, because right now I'm giving you a real fluidity and warmth. So that's our earth, water, fire. That's very personal stuff. That's the I, the me, the my, the emotion, the intellect, and the commitment to life, earth, water, fire. So if I'm going to move with that rather than up and over, that kind of thing, if I'm going to move like that, I'm going to move like that. You see, I'm moving like that. And my mind, my consciousness, I'm suggesting it to you, my consciousness going to that deep flow. I don't want to jump the gun and try to get all expansive. I'm coming into my situation, which is being a human, and yielding into the earth, water, fire. And then let's begin a few of the cat movements. And again, you cannot do this wrong. You cannot breathe wrong here. As you're inhaling anything you like, traditionally you would expand the lungs and expand the chest, and maybe even open up through the very topmost portion of your chest on inhale. That would be traditional. And the exhale will be a flexing of the spine and a curling around your front, right? So perhaps if you'd like to follow me, if you'd like to go through your own exploration, it's fine. Perhaps inhale and slide forward. You don't need to leave both knees on the floor. And then with an exhale, you come back. Maybe your spine is rippling laterally as you do this. Inhale, you come forward. And I'm going to straighten the other leg just because I want to feel it. Yep. And exhale, rounding. And inhale. Now I'm drawing pelvic belly in and up, receding the pubis and lifting top chest. Stay here. Pelvic floor, big, wide, net. And exhale, curl tail without hardening the back of the pelvic floor. You'll feel the difference. Inhale, slide through, widest pelvic floor. As you're exhaling, push into earth, round back. Good, and inhale, ready. And it's an exhale back into child's posture. Ujjayi. Push through your forelegs as you inhale and come up. Yield deeply into the earth. Roll into, you know what I usually call a quasi-upward facing dog, where you're not dropping your hips. You're literally rolling this more and more into the top chest, quasi-upward dog. And then toes turn under and exhale it back. Downward facing dog. And you can continue with those little wake up movements, you know, that are like the cat, but you're cat-cow. But here you are in downward facing dog. A couple more breaths. And now from here, You're going to step up one leg at a time. Now, step with your non-habitual walking leg. So you almost probably step with one first. Step forward with the other and walk up. Good. Now bring your hands anywhere on your legs where you can literally come to about a halfway up position. And stay here and feel this situation where your front body is facing the earth. This means that gravity is literally flowing through your tissues and pulling you earthward. Yes? Now spread your toes, arches of feet lift. Stay with me, we're still setting up sun salutations. Arches of feet lift, and you come upward through the inner legs and into the pelvic floor. Good. Now take one hand to your belly and one hand to your chest. Soften your mouth, allow your jaw joints to be just a little bit light here, as if they're puppet strings heavenward and drawing them up. And then from the tone, listen, knit the tissues of your front body into just a little bit more tone, and then use that and inhale and come all the way up and reach up. Reach way up. Continue to reach. As you continue to reach, drop your coccyx down. It's very light. It's not the earth, water, fire. The coccyx is much lighter. It's more like way in here, and it roots you. Good. Now inhale again, and as you're exhaling, slide your arms down. Anjali Mudra, standing simply in the integrity and the simplicity of Tadasana. Without thinking, how do I do it? What's my position? Stand with integrity and simplicity and organize around a radiance of a central core. One slinky in an image just to remind. So the slinky is right through, it's an empty radiant core. It's Sushumna, it's the embodiment of the central channel of you, the radiant awareness that is bigger than anything. And the radiant awareness, where does it come first? Obviously, space. So at the space element, we're able to recognize it more clearly. And keep listening. I know you might tune me out because I talk a lot, you know, so just keep listening. That radiance is what you organize around. So if you want to find alignment as a thing in Tadasana, you might just imagine, notice, feel that you have this big, thick core that rises up through arches of diaphragm feet, arch of diaphragm pelvic floor, all the way up along the back abdominal wall to the thoracic diaphragm center. It keeps coming up to the thoracic outlet. It keeps coming up right through the center of your neck, and it goes to the base of your brain. It's the space element. It's the place where you learn, where you begin to have this real true space between perception and response, the place where you gain freedom. All right, good. Now I am going to use the chair to begin the Surya Namaskars. I'll probably keep the chair. However, you can also enjoy having a couple of blocks up here, if that might be helpful for you at some point. The chair is for those of us who for whatever reason, don't really want to get all the way into the postures every time, right? So I'm bringing the edge of my chair onto my mat so that when I come into downward dog, I maybe almost have enough room. I'll take just the front. Alrighty. Here we go. So simple. We'll hold 5 breaths in each of the postures except for chaturanga in this first one. All right. So basically, exhale, Anjali Mudra, hold heart tenderly, organize around the empty core to the best of your ability. Exhale, release arms down, fingers light. As you're inhaling, coccyx goes down, thread it into the earth, reach up with your fingers. Keep breathing. Feel the elongating of your vertebral column as the coccyx goes down, and then dare to look up a little bit, not as a position, but as a softening under your tongue, a widening of the jaw joints, soft eyes receiving. Here we go. Inhale and come up, and exhale forward. It's a bit of a bow as you come down, hands to whatever you like. I'm taking mine to the floor, and I'm letting my hand rest on my chair. Keep breathing. Little bit of flexion in the spine, a little bit of yielding of the front body tissues, a knitting of them in and undulating with the breath. All right, and inhale, bring your hands to the floor, bend your knees a lot, ready to move. As you're exhaling, let's all do plank. Come into plank, and we'll hold it. 1, here goes the core again. It's just like Tadasana. I am going to need to have my chair right on the mat, so that'll work. Just like Tadasana, only you're in a diagonal. Yes, inhale. As you're exhaling, either knees, chest, chin, or something like the chaturanga, sweep forward with an inhale, upward facing dog. Now use the front body again to support in and up. Please don't hang in your spine. Please. Lift and knit front body tissues softly, but persistently into the spine and the back abdominal wall. Inhale again, and as you're exhaling, all the way back. Adho Mukha. And breathing 1, and 2, 3, and 4. Ujjayi breathing. And 5, all the way, soft, deep, empty, hollow belly, and walk or hop your feet to your hands. Or if you're on the chair, you might want to have your feet a little further from the chair. Inhale, exhale, pour down. And inhale, deepen the earth with the peripheral body. Rise with the central core. And Anjali Mudra. Feel the simplicity and the integrity of what you just did with kindness, without blaming self and without the opposite, self-denigration. Like, oh, I'm so bad. You're so good. You're just perfect. You're fine. You're not great. You're not terrible. You're just human. Anjali, exhale. Enjoy it. The freedom of knowing. Inhale. Exactly. That yes, this is a dance of the light. All I need to do is notice its reality. That's freedom. Exhale over. And ready. Inhale, ready. Elongate out and exhale, jump to chaturanga or step to plank, your choice. Inhale, come forward into an upward dog. Don't let your spine hang. Don't let your hips drop. In other words, they're up a bit. And exhale all the way back, downward facing dog. So if your lumbar spine is really arched in an upward dog, is perfectly fine, but not dropping it. That's not perfectly fine. That just sends a shearing force right across your spine. If you drop your hips too much, you need to come up in front of it, draw it up into the top chest, and then you're good, okay? Exhale all the way to empty. Walk or hop your feet to your hands. Step down, wave out, take life in. Exhale, release it exactly as it is. And push into the earth and rise up, reach. And Anjali Mudra. Arms down, Tadasana, going nowhere, doing nothing. Breathing, allowing all of this. And as we allow the personal, we start to open into the noticing of our community, our relationality, even our love. Anjali, same thing again. You push into the earth. As you inhale, the breath expands from the space of the slinky, your core. Exhale over it. Ready is inhale. And exhale is chaturanga or plank. Inhale and sweep through to upward. And exhale, reach your tail back. As you yield and push into the earth and feel your fingers just light, touching. So your fingers here on the earth, they have earth, water, fire, right? They've got the bone and the muscle and the hollow in the bone that flows warm, liquid stuff. And they've got the space in the joints. All right, exhale all the way to empty and forward we'll go again. Step earthward. And pour down. And rise up, entering the integrity of relationship into the earth and the reach into the space, the air, and the divine. And exhale. Stand in it. As we transition to the next Surya, stand in that space between the stimulus and the response. See if you can feel what it is, because it's very simple. Right now, it's in your body. Can you feel the air? Take something simple on your skin. Can you feel there's a space where that comes in? You feel it. And then the response isn't necessarily a movement. You have a thought about it. You think something. That's a response. Or you move it. That's a response. Can you do it a little bit more inside? So if you touch the warmth of your belly and you use your hands to help increase the warmth, you feel the warmth that is inside. Okay, that's warm feel. Response. Surya B, because it's going to have Utkatasana, touch your chest. Open your arms a little bit as if you're opening your arms from the air. That's different from the warm. Now, last one. Your neck, don't touch right on it. It's bigger than that. It's space, right? So touch there. That's space. You want to feel? You want to soften the resistance to feeling space? Go under your tongue, soften the skin in there, allow your jaw joints to be bright and as if you've got these Pinocchio suspensions up through them heavenward so that you can rest your brain under the tongue and all the way up through the pharynx and the soft palate. Rest brain because it is not part of finding the space. It overtakes it repeatedly. Rest your brain. Find the space. Surya B. So that's another rendition of the beauty and the importance of the Utkatasana prep, where we hold tenderly, where we thread the tail, where we lift the pelvic floor, and body, back body, exhale, come down. Stay here, taking responsibility, right? No one's stopping you from freedom. Take responsibility, the tail goes away, pelvic floor rises, the pit of the belly pulses in there, the primal place where you said yes to life the first time, or the 10th time. Heart, and then arms down and up the back abdominal wall, into the low lung, into the mid lung, into the top, and you reach away with your fingers. Utkatasana, the tail goes down. And here we go. Inhale, come up, and exhale, bowing forward, touching the earth. Your props are earth, it doesn't matter. Inhale, slide out, ready for anything sensation, and exhale, chaturanga or plank. Sweep forward to upward dog, big aspiration. And then as you're exhaling, yield and push down and away, and it's downward facing dog. Now spin your left foot out back there. Make a commitment. This is a standing warrior. Make a commitment to being in the earth, and then step your right foot up between your hands. Yield down through both evenly. Push into the earth. Allow pelvic floor to rise, come up the back abdominal wall and reach up. One breath, and two, and three. Now you're not going right into chaturanga, and four. And come down the front, Anjali Mudra. Once again, heart tender. And the space, right? The space, and come up around the core, Virabhadrasana 2. Come up and around it, and open and exhale back down. The gaze is right out past your fingers. There's a lot of fire in this. These are warriors. There's a lot of fire, but they're modulated. The fire is modulated with a sense of personal responsibility. You get it? You take responsibility for your life in the warriors. Not easy. Total responsibility. Oh my God. Okay, here we go. Inhale. As you're exhaling, bring it around. You can take a full vinyasa, or you can feel free to just step right back and into downward facing dog. It's your choice. We join together in downward dog. So maybe you did a plank and an upward dog, whatever. Everyone here is in downward dog. And now you spin your right foot out. Make a commitment into the earth with it. Soft, deep earth, water, fire. And then bring your left up and place, step, relate, go deep, and with that deep, rise up around the radiant core. Back abdominal wall, that fiery, just the glow, right? You're not going, rah, rah, rah. It's just the glow of the potentiality to act in a human way. The commitment, such a big deal. Often we just go through the motions. The commitment to life. Exhale down the front. And then it's the second warrior. So there's a shift in consciousness. You come up and you're drawing the bow back, right? So there's a shift. It's like, oh, okay, wait a minute. I see something's gonna have to be done. Not yet. Sitting in the gap. Very brave. Sitting in the gap. Until one knows the right action. And one knows the right action. When one knows, you come around and forward and you take action. And stepping back, your choice, straight to downward dog or chaturanga, if you like, upward facing and downward facing dog. 5 breaths or so. So ripple your feet and your toes a little bit. Descend downward and backward through the calcaneus. Draw your thighs way back toward the wall behind you. Support it by pushing into the earth with your hands. And then the light at the center of the thighs going back is the coccyx. Alrighty? Exhale all the way to empty. And you'll come forward, walk or hop, step down, and exhale down. Utkatasana, inhale, big breath, and all the way up, and gently going nowhere, doing nothing, finding the integrity and the simplicity within powerful surging action. Inside your body, you feel there's more movement now, right? The fluids and the seas in there and the rivers, they're all churning around. So let's do it again, a little bit different. Inhale, exhale, and slide down into the earth. Rise, inhale, foot. With an exhale, forward, hands wherever you're taking them, your choice. Ready is inhale, and exhale is plank or chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. All right, now this one is going to be Trikonasana. So spin your left foot out back there, make a commitment. Bring your right foot up between your hands, yield down. Now stay low. Don't come up and into Trikonasana. Stay low, develop it from your low. So I've got my hand on the chair, you may have your hand anywhere. And then you push into earth and roll from the earth support up. Breathing. So in this Trikonasana, there's a contemplation of this earth, water, fire, the support of your humanity brought you up. Then there's the yielding of the back abdominal wall into you that rolls the lungs and the heart open, and you are invited into this space. Heart, lung. All right, with an exhale, again, don't come up. Bend, push, support into the earth as you come around and take your vinyasa, plank or chaturanga, upward facing, or you could be just going to downward dog and all the way back, downward facing dog. The other side, spin your right foot out. Commit. Step your left foot up. The heel of the front foot lines up with the arch of the back foot, please. And then stay low. Stay low. Yield into the earth, your chair, earthy blocks, whatever it is. Going down and receiving back up through the inner leg from the earth. And that inner leg takes you sliding up into the heart and the lungs. It's the tube, right? It's that, oh yeah, I get it. There it is. Breathing. And maybe you look up. Maybe there's vulnerability. Maybe you don't want to look up. Notice it. Maybe you say, but why am I afraid? Maybe I can, oh, I know why, because it made me sad. Can I handle it? Or, oh, I forgot the love and the gratitude and the beauty that I feel. You can't figure out what it's going to be ahead of time. You're still going to be human. You're going to have it all. Inhale, here we go. As you're exhaling, come back around. And yes, your vinyasa, I'll show, just going right back into downward dog. I'm just sliding back. All your choice. Deep breathing. All right, Parivrtta Trikonasana, right from here. So you spin your left foot out and step your right foot up between your hands. Now you start to see why I wanted the chair for today. If you can be fine to be way low, that's fine. Or on your shin, or I'm going to use the chair, and I yield and push with all of the caught limbs, listen, and I reach with the tail and the head and the top limb and roll open, twisting triangle. Keep breathing. There's the heavy, the dense, it's the earth, water, fire. And there's the light and the spacious, it's the air, space. All of it composed of awareness and elements, none of it better than another, all necessary to have an alive form that functions. Here we go, inhale. As you're exhaling, come around, vinyasa or not. And back, beautiful, everybody. That's going to be your left leg, so flatten your right, back there. Step your left, go down, commit, 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 commit. Place the right hand wherever you're doing it. And you can bring your left hand to your thigh if you like. You don't even need to reach up, right? So whatever it is you're doing, yield in there, and then begin to roll. And you'll feel what you feel as you do it. I happen to have a wall right here, and I'm actually going to take my left hand onto the wall, right, for a little push to assist the rotation there in the core and up and through the top lung, the low lung, empty radiance, jaw joint, the whole deal. Inhale, ready to move? And exhale, come back over it, and your vinyasa again. Ujjayi breathing, ocean breath. 5 breaths here. Listen to the sound of your breath. Learn to count. Learn to count on the exhalations. It'll keep your mind focused. All right, and here we go. That's 5. You exhale and walk or hop your feet to your hands. Step down, you inhale. What is it? And exhale right down over it. And deep into the earth with the periphery. Utkatasana is developing the rising through the center, the pit of the belly and up. Aspiration, coccyx away. Please stay rooted. I see a lot of like, like I'm on the earth, you're in it. Get in it. There you go. And then push into the earth. Inhale, rise. And exhale, Anjali Mudra. Release your arms. Simple integrity again. Tadasana. The space between stimulus and response, watch this inside yourself. It's very possible that you come into Tadasana and then you get the feeling that you need to change it. And you just immediately alter. Or maybe you say, why didn't she tell me how to do it? I told you already. It's the slinky. All right, and then let this Tadasana breathe. What does that mean? It means a 3-dimensionality to every single breath and a 3-dimensionality from every single tissue rolling through you. Rest your brain, the jaw joints, under your tongue. Good. And then heel toe your feet apart. Padangusthasana, you're going to take your first 2 fingers and grab your big toes when you get down there. So first, deep in the earth and slide up. Now, as you're sliding up here, you're in a little bit of a back bend. That's fine. As you slide up and the coccyx goes down below, do pulse the pelvic floor up into you. Keep listening. Slide your sensing and feeling up the back abdominal wall. Slide it up. Then lift all sides of your ribs way up off of the hips and allow that central rising to come up through the diaphragm. Let it come up through the thoracic inlet. This is the manubrium comes up and you peak up. Don't push your heart. Don't push across it. Just slide right up through it. The manubrium lifts, soft under tongue, the upward peak, spread your toes again. Inhale, and as you're exhaling, slide your arms down your legs. If you need to bend your knees to get your big toes, perfectly fine. And then hook your big toes with your first 2 fingers and your thumb. So the first 2 fingers are underneath the toes. Thumb is on the toe ball, the toenail. Yeah, not the toe ball, the toenail. And perhaps you've already waved out with an inhale and pour down as you're exhaling. Ujjayi. Now, be a real sleuth in here. Make sure that you're not hinging at your hip joints in such a way that you're cutting off the breath in the centers of your hips. Feel for it. You may need to bend your knees a little bit. Good. Now, bend your knees a lot, and take both hands facing up right underneath each of your feet, one and the other. Step on your hands, slip your heels back a little bit, inhale, wave out, and exhale, open your elbows and go down any amount. So it could be a little bit, you could have your knees fully bent, perfectly fine again. Enjoy yourself. your shoulder blades slide up your back and slightly in towards your spine. Slightly, not maximally, slightly. All right, now free your feet. Spread your toes and the toe balls. Bring your hands into the hips. Be sure you're getting that full breath in the hip joints. Inhale halfway up. Stay with the specifics. And then inhale the rest of the way up. And heel toe together. Tadasana. Okay, you're going to come down onto your belly and have either a bolster or a couple of folded blankets. You're going to, in a moment, just have that for now. We don't need it quite yet, or you can go get it. I feel like in these times, I'm thinking that people are, you know, accumulating yoga props as it becomes clear that we need them at home, if you don't have them at home. All right, so take your hands like this. And with your hands like this, squeeze your upper arms into your torso. And even so much, you can see how I'm getting to this place where my ribs are actually supported on my arms because I'm squeezing them. So they're not out to the side, right in there, you see? And yes, the fingers are facing earthward. So this could be challenging at first. I'm just seated on my knees and then watch. So from seated on knees, I'm coming forward and I'm flattening the hands down. This is hard for me now. It didn't used to be, but it is hard for me now. And then I bend my elbows and journey my torso right down over my arms. It's quite hard for me. All right, so let's do that. Upper arms are closed and the fingers pull back. You keep that and come out over it. You see how you can articulate your hands a bit by bit, and then whoa, down. There'll be an angle that works for you. And then squeezing upper arms in, you're literally dropping the weight over them. Now, some of you may know that this is the initiation, the way that you come into Mayurasana. And some of you may be able to do it. I can't do it anymore, but I'll show you. You take the elbows in and you straighten your legs behind you. And then some of you will rock down earthward enough with your chest to actually extend your legs up behind you. Do the part that you like. Now, if it's too much, you see some of you are kind of sitting it out. And I think that's because, you know, we call it arthritis. That's what we call any of the inflammation that we sometimes get. So if you're sitting this part out, just move your hands and your fingers and roll, reach away. Okay, and roll, reach away. And then everybody out of this particular inquiry and using your arms in this way, one rolls. What if it reaches? If it reaches, your fingers get a little light, they actually want to feel something. Keep listening. Now pull that thing back and pull it into yourself. So that's into your deep, not into your muscle. That's muscle. I could do that. into my deep. I take it in. Let's do the other one. You reach. I want it. And then pull. So there's a freedom, and then there's a condensing. Once more, that same side. Is your torso coming forward a little bit when you reach? Because if you really want something, you don't go like that. If you really want something, you lean to try to get it, and then you pull it back, right? Okay, ready for the bolster. And this is the back bending with your, not your pubis, but the pit of belly above the pubic bone into anything that will support you there. So a bolster will work, other things will also work. So as I come here to get over the bolster, I'm going to take this area, a couple inches above the pubis, right into the edge of my bolster and let the pubis be off. Yes? Now slide back a little bit with your two legs, and you can keep the tops of your legs on the floor the best you can. So not your inner legs, not your outer legs, just the tops of your legs. And then your forearms on the floor, and to come up into a Sphinx, to come up into a Sphinx, just pull your arms back toward you a little bit. And then lengthen your spine, maybe even side to side. Recede the pubic disc toward the tail. Watch my tail. I am not tucking. My tail goes up as I recede the pubic disc into the tail. The back abdominal wall is yielding up into my back body. And then I inhale and come up. So forearms is plenty. If you like, bring your hands to the floor and even your forearms, back forearms on the bolster, which is really nice vacation from effort. Breathing. And okay, listen, turn the toes of the back leg under on one side, straighten. And the toes of the back leg under on the other side, straighten. Recede the pubic disc up into the body, reach the coccyx away. Feel how the bolster is supporting into your back abdominal wall. That's what you need to do for yourself. And exhale all the way down. Rest with your palms, fists stacked, and your forehead down. And allow the shape of the bolster or your folded blankets to fill your back with your breath. So the belly's not pushing into the bolster's too hard for it. Your breath is moving into your back body. And this is what we want. All right, simple. Coming up again, the same thing. I'm going to start with my hands a little closer because I'm going to come into Cobra, not Sphinx. So you have two choices. You can do the Sphinx, which is more than enough, or take your hands under your shoulders and lift belly, back belly wall up, reach tail away as you're inhaling. Yielding back belly up into back abdominal wall to support, reach away with coccyx, slide the top chest diaphragm right up at the top of the thoracic region in the center. Slide it out and forward, and maybe just roll the manubrium, the very top portion of your sternum up, jaws, ha. Now, if you're too high, you're going to feel too much pressure in your back, especially in the spine. That's where you really don't want it. Draw yourself out long, come lower if you need to, and Choose your medicine. And then coming down, lengthen self over bolster, sculpt it into your belly, and stack palms, fists, the other one on top this time. Alternately, you could come into child's posture now. Very good. Now, here we go. Up a little bit. Left arm supports in front of you. Bend your right leg. Reach back and hold on to something if you can. This is enough. This is phase one. Be right here. You don't need to come up anymore. Or, if you like, push down and rise up. Flex your foot. So the thigh's on the floor, but you're turning toward front. So again, you may just be down here. This is more than fine. Keep breathing. Relational into the earth and into the earth of you. All right, inhale. As you're exhaling, come down and change sides. Feel the bolster sculpting into your belly. It's actually a pretty important part of this. And then the forearm, and then you bend the back, and you've got the choices. You come up high if you like, or you stay low and you breathe. You know, it's a complete misconception that coming up high is better. They're always different. And it's up to you to feel the differences and between the stimulus, notice what is it that drives you to try to get into the high. Maybe that's just hardening for you. Maybe that's not even helpful. What would happen if you made it a little bit softer? All right, and then from wherever you are, release. Come around, back down for 2 deep breaths. 1. Fill your back with the breath. Let the movement of your breath come all the way up to the deep muscles of your back body, and then down into the earth. Support. Please don't come up arcing and, disconnected. Yield, push into the earth. Take support. Come up, inhaling and exhaling. Child's posture. I'm choosing to keep my arms on the bolster. I invite you to do that. You can also choose any version of child's posture that is helpful for you. Good, and now you'll come up. And let's come to seated. So now is a good time to grab a folded blanket, or of course, if you like, you can sit up as high as being on your bolster. I'm going to take a single folded blanket. I invite you to take 1 or 2 or a bolster. You know that you don't want to be dropping backward in your spine in these postures, in the seated postures, so you need to be up high enough. All right, and here we go. Come on out and have a seat. If you have a strap handy, take it. Hey, my feet are out. Hold on. All right. Feet are out. Strap is here. Feet are in. All right, so you're sitting up and you want to just spread your toes and maybe press forward with the big toe ball and draw the outer toe balls back. You feel that? You may have a sense of arches. There's an inner arch here and there's an outer arch, right? It's all one beautiful structure of bone in there. And then having placed the two toes forward, so actually be careful. You may be gripping in the groins to do that. Understandable, but notice it and perhaps lean back so that you're not gripping. And then let the outer feet come forward. You can even curl your toes in, you see? And then heels forward. And then big toes spread, all toes spread. Pulse the big toe ball forward enough so that it's as if you were on a wall with your feet. Now, take the strap, right around the toe ball. Good, wrap it. Hook your heels forward just a little bit. So I'm coming up off of the ground, you see? And then I brought my toes back to hook my heels further forward. And then press on the strap with your toes. Don't let your heels slide. Dandasana. Breathe into the hip socket. So you don't want to hinge too much over this. That's too much. That cuts the breath right out of the hip sockets. You want to be right there. Right there. Okay? Now, keep that stability and let go your strap if you can. If you need to bend your knees to sit up, do. Interlace, inhale, reach up. So you're in Parvatasana in Dandasana. Good. Part hands, inhale and exhale down. All right, Bharadvajasana is a simple twist. You're going to bring your right leg open a little bit. If you get any tenderness in the knee or anything like that, feel free to support it. You just want to be comfortable. You can bring it out further. Make sure that you're comfortable. And then what I'm going to do is slip my bolster so that it's only under that. I'm mirroring you, so it's your right side buttock bone that it's under. And then this leg can come around into something of a virasana. So it's about like this. And you can see if you have your right pelvic half up on a bolster or something, excuse me, your hips will be more even. Unless you have the ability to be flat with both pelvic halves, which is also fun. Here we go. Inhale. As you're exhaling, turn toward the externally rotated leg and keep going just to your comfort. That back leg, pelvic half can move. Don't try to plant it down and keep it. Let that rotation come all the way through the thigh and the pelvic half as you turn. Again, don't hinge off of this joint. Do keep the breath full in that hip pelvic area, the pelvic half area, and the hip joint. Soften gaze back, under tongue, eyes down. Now, you've got the gaze over the back shoulder. Keep your torso, your whole body in that exact same twist, and then roll under your tongue, lifting, jaw joints lifting, to bring your head around, to gaze up, around, and down. past your front shoulder. Good. Inhale, back around, and find neutral. It will have shifted. Good. And then we're going to change the sides. So you come up to change sides and you're shifting the edge of your blanket. So I'm sitting right on, edge of it there. And changing the sides. A little bit of blanket goes right under that. Okay, so I have some, do you see what's happening here for me? I'm on the one edge of the blanket, but I'm way hooked up here on this back leg. So that means I need a higher support on this side. So I'm building that higher support. I'm guessing that will be about the height. And now, that's what you want. This one is a Virasana style back there. This one is a Janu Shirsasana or Padmasana style, but just on the ground. Yes? Are you settled? Good. Inhale. As you're exhaling, beginning to twist. Your twist will be different here too, right? Because we are asymmetrical. And you keep yielding and pushing and pulsing into your body, if you like, to notice what you feel. Layer upon layer in every yoga posture. It's never the same. If you do it from the musculoskeletal all the time, it tends to feel a little bit the same. But you go in through these layers that we know, the elements, the koshas. And your gaze is past that back shoulder to begin, remember? And go really soft under the tongue. Feel the space in your jaws from jaw joint to jaw joint, expanding and lifting. And then inhale, your head's coming around and you gaze. You still turn to the back, but you gaze to the front. Good. As you're inhaling all the way back to neutral. And then adjust your blanket and we'll take Baddha Konasana. So you may or may not know how high your hips need to be for Baddha Konasana. I'm choosing this height. And you come up over it. Both buttock bones need to be really firm on your blanket. So I don't want to show you a bad habit that I have. Don't fold it like that. Take it. You have two blankets. Fold it once so you have a clean edge. And then the other one goes right over that so that you have clean edges and you have room for your hips to be on the same height on both sides. Blankets are somewhat preferable to bolsters only because they're firmer, right? So as you're practicing at home, maybe you want to start, if you use a bolster to sit, maybe you want to start to get 3 blankets to sit on. Alrighty, Baddha Konasana, of course, is this one. And you sit up. So it's fine to hold your feet if you have that kind of range, but I'm better off up on blankets to hold ankles. And when I hold ankles, do you see how I've got my the top of my forearm on my thighs, right? Well, I'm going to pulse and activate my feet and into these hip joints. And then I'm going to gently press down and out with my forearms on my thighs. Down with the thighs. Not down, pulsing down. All right, and bring your right leg up, plant it, and extend your left leg out. All previous toe instructions, feet instructions, wrap your left arm around, step down through that right leg, and then come back and reach back a little bit. So you're not coming right up around the leg. Actually, take your hand behind you and lean back. You see what I've done? I've leaned back to make space in this hip joint, and then exhale and turn. Stay leaned back. There's no need to come up here. That's a variation. This is a variation. Right now you're leaning back and turning. Back over the back shoulder. Don't let your head be forward. Head is not down and twist. Head comes up. So if anything, you have a little extension, not flexion, up in the neck. Very good. Now, as you inhale and you come up, yield into the earth, rise up the back abdominal wall, inhale. And exhaling, you're going to change your legs. You draw in and up first. You can hook your heel out a little bit. So if you're here, for example, I'm talking about the front foot, you can extend the heel, catch it on the ground a little bit, and then that will extend your leg further. You see? So you're going to twist, and this low leg is going to extend. So you can hook your heel out and then extend the leg and start to twist. You see? Your hips are now very uneven. You inhale and come up and around, and exhale, turn toward the leg. Not back up, way back here for this version. Good, and then back around is inhale. You square your hips, exhale, legs out. Sit comfortably, forelegs, knees on floor. That is part of the key to comfort in seated, by the way. If you take, this is Siddhasana, the forelegs and the knees on the floor. If you can get your hips high enough for that, you'll be likely comfortable, not necessarily, but likely. Eyes closed. Soft rhythm of the inhale and the exhale. Place where we began and we return. As you exhale to that finish and you go into the pause of the breath, it's the same place as the space between the stimulus and the response. Melt in, Stay awake. And then inhale again. Melt in, stay focused, stay clear. Where is it? Ah. And you inhale again. Good. Hands into heart again. Hold heart tenderly. Gratitude to self. Gratitude to family. Gratitude to community. Just for a moment. Good. And Shavasana. Lie back.